$10,000. Not rich, not retired, but the first 10,000 changes, something that no raise ever will. This is what saving it actually looks like. 22 months, one setback, and a Tuesday where nothing happens. First, the starting line. As of 2026, only 47% of Americans could cover a $1,000 emergency. More than half the country is one bad Tuesday from a credit card balance. This episode is about leaving that half. Meet Alex, 26 years old, $3,150 of take-home pay a month, and $0 saved. Not because he's reckless, because the money arrives on the first, the month happens, and somehow nothing is ever left. If that pattern sounds familiar, watch closely, because the fix isn't a bigger income. It's a different order of operations. The old order, income minus life equals savings, and life always wins. The new order, income minus savings equals life, so Alex sets one automatic transfer. The day after payday, $240 leaves checking before he can meet it. Why $240? Small enough to survive a bad month, automatic enough to survive a weak moment. Both matter. The money lives at a separate bank. Different app, different login. Deliberate friction between Alex and his own savings. He names the account Runway. Not savings, Runway. Every deposit buys days of freedom, not just digits on a screen. And that's the entire system. One transfer, one hidden account, one name that means something. Boring, on purpose. Month 1 ends. The balance reads $240. Let's be honest about this number. It feels like nothing. $240 doesn't fix a transmission, doesn't cover rent, doesn't impress anyone. This is where most people quit. The math says this rate reaches $10,000 in under 4 years. The brain hears never. That gap kills more savings plans than any expense. So Alex shrinks the goal. Forget $10,000. Just reach the first 1,000. A finish line close enough to actually see. Month 2, he squeezes out a little extra. 2 more home-cooked dinners a week. 1 skipped night out. 60 found dollars. Months 2 and 3 blur together. 500, 800, slow enough to feel pointless, steady enough to be working. Then, early in month 4, the balance crosses $1,000, the first 1,000 of Alex's entire adult life. His friends see none of it. From the outside, Alex just orders water more often and stays in some Fridays. That invisibility is the price of the first year. Nobody applauds a savings account. The scoreboard exists only inside the app. People call compounding a snowball. Fine. But right now, Alex's snowball is loose snow, and packing it is pure manual labor. Month 6, $2,050. 6 months of unglamorous discipline, sitting quietly in a single number. Something shifts here. He stops checking the balance hoping it grew, and starts trusting that it did. The habit owns itself now. Then, month 7 happens. The car, the one that gets him to work, dies on a Tuesday morning. The repair quote, $1,100. More than half of everything he has saved, gone in a single afternoon. He pays it from savings and drives home feeling like 6 months of discipline just got erased. It didn't. Watch. Replay that Tuesday in the old life, the one with no savings. The $1,100 lands on a credit card. At the over 20% interest most cards charge, a bad afternoon quietly becomes a bad year, sometimes several. Instead, car fixed. New debt, $0. $950 still standing. The fund didn't fail. It did its exact job. Because an emergency fund isn't money you never touch. It's damage that doesn't spread. That's the whole point of it. Month 8, Alex goes hunting for a higher savings rate. Because rebuilding at $240 a month feels too slow now. First kill, 3 subscriptions he forgot he was paying. $85 a month, canceled in about 10 minutes flat. A Sunday meal prep habit frees another $160. Not by eating worse, but by deciding once instead of daily. And a few weekend hours of freelance work add roughly $140 most months. Not an empire, just hours. Add it up. $385 extra dollars on top of the original $240. New monthly rate, $625. From $240 to $625 a month. From under 8% of take-home pay to almost 20%. Notice what didn't change, the salary. Every extra dollar came from attention. The one raise nobody has to approve. The balance rebuilds, $1,400, $1,900, $2,450, $3,050, months 8 through 11. Just deposits. Month 10 is the closest he comes to quitting. Friends book a trip he says no to, and the account suddenly feels like a cage. He almost pauses the transfer. Then he remembers the Tuesday the fund turned a crisis into a receipt, and leaves it running. Month 12, 1 full year of this, $3,800. And here's the honest part, not even halfway. A year of discipline and the summit is still far away. This is the moment the internet never ever shows you, because the internet sells the after, the screenshot, the milestone, the reveal. It never sells month 12, where you simply continue. Alex continues, not motivated, consistent. There's a difference. And on this journey, the difference is worth exactly $10,000. Month 14, $5,000. Halfway. The first half took 14 months, 1 dead car, and a rebuilt savings rate. Now the quiet math that changes everything. The second half of this journey will not take another 14 months. The second 5,000 takes 8. Same person, same job, but a higher rate, hardened habits, and a little interest helping. The snowball still isn't rolling by itself. That comes much later. But it's packed now. It holds its shape between pushes. And let's be honest about interest. At this size, it's a few dollars a month. Deposits build the first 10,000, returns build the next 100. Around month 15, a tempting question arrives. Shouldn't this money be invested? Markets average more than any savings account pays. For the first 10,000, mostly no. This is an emergency fund. Its job is to exist, not to grow. Money you might need on a random Tuesday can't live somewhere that can lose a third of its value in a bad year. And markets have. In Norway, the split has names. The buffer sits in a bank account. Investing that comes after lives in an aksjesparekonto. Inside that account, index fund gains compound untaxed year after year. Tax only comes due when you withdraw more than you put in. The principal travels anywhere. Cash for the buffer, tax-sheltered index funds for everything after. Wrapper names change. The order doesn't. There are still bad months. A wedding month. A December. The transfer goes through anyway because automation doesn't ask permission. 22 months on one chart. 240, 2050. The crash to 950. 3,800, 5,000. Then the climb. Month 22. A Tuesday, again. Alex opens the app, and the balance reads $10,040. $10,040. No confetti, no phone call, no feeling. The number just sits there, being quietly true. And nothing happens. Except everything already has. Because look closely at what this one number has quietly replaced. An emergency is now an inconvenience. A layoff is now a 3-month runway. A bad job is now a choice. That's what the first 10,000 actually buys. Not things. Exits. Every door in his life now opens from the inside. So what did it take? Not a 6-figure salary. Not luck. Not a single brilliant stock pick. Nothing you don't have. 1 automatic transfer. 22 months. 1 setback survived instead of financed. That's the entire recipe. And it's repeatable by design. Because left invested for 30 years at a 7% average annual return, this 10,000 alone becomes roughly 76,000, which is why the first 10,000 is the hardest, and the last one you'll ever have to grind for quite like this. Alex isn't financially independent. He's 22 months in. But the machine is built, and from here it compounds. Your numbers will differ. Your car will cost more or less. But the sequence transfers. Automate it, protect it, continue. 10,000 isn't the number, it's the proof. Go start yours. 1 transfer, set up tomorrow, time to payday.